All right, in this video, I'm going to discuss how to approach this class. How should you study? What should you do before lecture? What should you be doing during lecture? What should you be doing after lecture? How to approach this class to get the grade that you desire. Now, everything here in the class is going to come down to modules, and the modules are named for the meeting, meeting 1, meeting 2, meeting 3, etc., etc., etc. Here I've got meeting 2. Meeting 2 we're going to discuss chemical bonding, weak interactions, water, pH, and buffers. Okay, so here's the trick. This is a flipped classroom. And what that means is, as it's indicated here, complete the following before Zoom meeting 2. So all of this stuff here is stuff that you're expected to look at and complete before the meeting, okay, before that Zoom meeting. Now, here, if we were to click on the read these sections of the textbook, okay, what that would do is that would take you to this Google slide here, or Google Sheet. And meeting 2 is right here, meeting 2. Here are the topics, and then here are the pages from the textbook that you are going to have to read. And again, this is before the lecture, before the Zoom session. Now, in addition, there are a series of review questions that you should be thinking about while you read and while you watch the videos, and to review them before the Zoom meeting. And if you were to click on this, what you would come to is a document, a Google Doc that looks like this. Okay. Now, this Google Doc has a whole bunch of important links. It talks about how you should approach answering these review questions. It talks about how to work in breakout rooms, and we'll discuss that in a moment. And so here we go. Here is meeting 2, chemical bonding, right? Water, pH, and buffers. If you wanted to, because this document's pretty big, you can use the outline here to go boop straight to meeting 2. And you should, before you even start reading the textbook or watching the videos, you should take a moment to read all of these questions. All right, all 44 questions. Just read them. Get an idea of what's being asked. Get an idea of the direction that I'm going here with this particular material. In no way should you necessarily be able to answer these questions yet, but at least the questions or the general gist of those questions are in your head before you start reading the textbook, before you start watching videos. Okay, that's important. Now, you want to keep this tab open on your browser constantly. And anytime you read the book, and anytime you watch the videos, you come straight back to this tab. You look, can I answer any of these questions? And then you go back, okay? This is your golden ticket right here in succeeding in this class. Okay, so now you've got this set of questions open. You know what pages of the textbook to read. And then you can start reading the textbook. You can start trying to answer these questions. Okay. In addition, what I have here is the PDF slides of the slideshow that I use to make these various videos. Chemical bonding, weak interactions, properties of water. These are all videos of me giving the lecture that I would give to you in class if we were doing a live class. But instead, because we're flipping the classroom, I've pre-recorded the videos for you to watch beforehand. So you could watch this. It's either embedded here in Canvas, or there's a playlist, a YouTube playlist, and you can watch it straight out of YouTube. Now, take advantage of this. Okay, now sure, this isn't a live lecture, so you can't stop me and ask questions, but the nice thing is If I'm going too slow for you, speed it up. So if we go to settings here, go to playback speed, you could increase the speed at which you're watching this video, or you can decrease the speed. It's up to you. In addition, since it's a pre-recorded lecture, you can watch it over and over and over again. You can stop it, you can rewind it, you can listen to a section a few more times. In addition, again, as you are watching this video, have this review questions open, and anytime you get to a part of the video where you think, hey, he just talked about stuff that I think I remember reading about in those questions. Let me see if I can answer them yet. And go back and forth, and back and forth. Pause the lecture, go to the review questions. Answer, answer, answer. Go back and forth, back and forth. It's very, very important that you do it this way. Okay, so it is true. Watching a pre-recorded lecture doesn't allow me to answer questions on the spot for you. But there are a lot of other advantages. Watching it over and over and over again, watching it faster, watching it slower, and rewinding and pausing. Take advantage of that. So next, if we go back to that module, what you have then here, let's go to our module 2. Where's module 2? There it is. So you have read textbook, you've reviewed those questions, you have, now again, those slides that you see in the YouTube video are available here as PDFs. So that's another thing you can do. Have those PDF files open or even print it out and take notes on them as you are watching the pre-recorded video. And finally, there will be these assignments. Okay? They're called activities and tutorials. And they are mastering biology assignments, so that's associated with the book's website. And here's the trick. They are always due right before the lecture in which we're going to discuss them, in which you're going to work on that material. So you have to be careful. So for example, on Wednesday, right after Monday's lecture, you're going to have to do the Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 assignment before, let's see, 12:45 on Wednesday. Okay, now they are low-stakes assignments. Okay, there are ways that you can maximize the points that you get because you're not necessarily supposed to have completely mastered the material, but at this point you should be fairly familiar with it. So now you have done all of this stuff before attending the Zoom session. And quite honestly, the order in which you do this is going to be a little dependent upon your style of learning. Some of you might want to go straight to the book. Some of you might want to watch my videos first. That is up to you. Now, when you come into the Zoom session, this is the way things are going to work. Everybody's going to come into the Zoom session. And then I am going to send you out into pre-arranged breakout rooms. Now, those breakout rooms are going to be pre-made, and they are going to keep people together who are in the same lab section. So the 6 or so other people within your lecture group will also be in your lab. And hopefully, at least some of them will be in your same lab group. Okay, so you'll develop a community. And now I'm going to send you out in your breakout rooms. And in those breakout rooms, you are going to discuss, whoops, where are they? Again, these review questions. These review questions that you've already looked at, that you've already tried to answer, and that now you can discuss them and get some clarifications with your group mates. And on top of that, there's a little button within Zoom where you can click it and it calls for me to go into your room and you can ask me some questions. So you guys are going to have about 20 minutes where you're going to be working on a subset of these questions. Okay, discuss them amongst yourselves. You have to have your audio on. You have to be participating. If you're not going to get this fully out of it. And preferentially, you should have your video on as well. After about 20 minutes, Okay, you're of going through this subset of questions. I'm going to pull you out, and then I'm going to ask you some clicker questions. So before we open the floor for any clarifications, I'm going to ask you maybe 2 or 3 clicker questions, and you're going to get 3 points for getting it right, and you're going to get 1 point if you just answer it and get it wrong. So 1 point if you get it wrong, 3 points if you get it right. So you're going to be held accountable for really working in your group to understanding this material enough to be able to answer these couple clicker questions. After the clicker questions, I'm going to ask you to go back in, open the floor for general questions and comments. And there will be some of you, or a lot of you probably will have difficulty with particular concepts, and I will, with the whole class, try to clarify those. After we've gone through all of that, and I've clarified any questions, I send you into a breakout room and you work on another subset of questions for this particular meeting. You work together, come back out, answer a few clicker questions, open the floor for general questions, and then that's pretty much usually, we get to do it twice like that. Then by that time, the lecture time is over and you go home or you log out. Now, there is one other assignment then that will be due before the exam on which this material is located. They're called these dynamic study modules. They are, again, mastering biology assignments, but they're not due the day of the lecture. They're due before the exam, the first exam. So you'll see that here in the assignment. So you've got these, okay, this is due before lecture, these two are due before lecture, before lecture, before lecture, but then you got all of these dynamic ones that are all going to be due before that first exam. Now these are in such a way where they're used to study, and you should get 100%. They're built in such a way where you should get 100% on them. Okay. So this is the way that you should approach each meeting. If you ignore all of this stuff and you come into that meeting and you go into your breakout session and you haven't done any of that, and you're just sitting there not interacting with your group mates, you will fail this course, right? You've got to put the energy and the activity and the persistence into this course before each lecture and during each lecture. Okay. In addition, of course, then you'll have to be studying and keeping up with the material before the exam. All right, I hope this helps you. I hope this gives you direction, and I wish you the best of luck in this coming semester.